Hey everybody, it's your boy the Bulldog, Mr. Metalhead Boy NY. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Listen, I'm gonna do a little stream. Um, among of all the new stuff that I've been listening to and all the new releases I've been getting, I've been listening to, like different things for the past week. Some older stuff. Um, some albums that I think people have forgotten about. Some bands that I think people have forgotten about. Um, One of them, a band called Defecation, um, Purity Dilution. This record, the story behind this record, that record was recorded originally in '87. It didn't make, uh, it didn't get released like '89. Remember that was a album done by Mick Harris and Mitch Harris back in '86, '87. Um, Mitch was in Righteous Pigs, the guitarist. Mick was the guitarist for Napalm at that time. Um, Mick left Napalm in like 1991. He was there from like 85 roughly. Um, he left to go form um, bands like Scorn was another awesome band. Extreme Noise Terror. He was in a band, another band called Painkiller. I think it was. I think it was Painkiller. Um, they put out a number of things. He's still doing music. It's more like electronic type um, feel to it. Almost like a ambient feel sound to it. Um, you gotta remember back then there was so much going on with Napalm back then. The first album, they, Napalm's first record, side one and side two are totally different musicians. So um, they got together, put out this record, which I think it's a phenomenal old school grindcore album. I think it's one of the first grindcore albums in my opinion, in my opinion ever. Um, you see him right there. Like I said, this was recorded '87. It didn't get put out to '89 with everything going on with Napalm and everything. Um, Mitch came in, uh, officially joined Napalm, and like 90ish, 91. His first real thing with Napalm was Harmony Corruption. Mitch has done a number of projects also. Uh, Meat Hook Seed in like '03. Um, Regurgitation. He was um, he was a touring drummer, I think, with Goat Lord for a little bit on a couple tours. Um, for like I think one or two tours with them, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but it was so much. I always say there's so many bands from that early grindcore scene that all basically came out of Napalm, and or either came out of Napalm or formed around Napalm. Whether it was Righteous Pigs, Carcass, Cathedral, Godflesh, Scorn, Extreme Noise Terror, Meat Hook Seed, like I just said. Um, I think that's where it all started with them, with that whole grindcore, scene. Um, you guys remember that first Napalm Death album? Uh, you had side A, like the first, I don't know, 20 minutes of it, where the hell it was. You had three or four different musicians, and then side B, you had three different totally musicians, and then their Napalm's second record, you had totally different people. So yeah, but definitely, I'm gonna get to that. I'm working on a huge uh, Napalm Death breakdown, where I'm gonna bring in all the bands that formed, you know, that that were together that led into Napalm, then the bands that led off Napalm. That whole, Godflesh, Carcass, Cathedral, you name it. There's just so many of them. Righteous Pigs was up there. Meat Hook Seed, a ton of different bands. But I want to stick with what I'm doing. Defecation. If you like the early Napalm sound, Righteous Pigs, early Carcass, Meat Hook Seed, definitely Scorn again. Definitely check out this album. Like I said, it was recorded in '87. It didn't make light of day like '89. Came out on Eric and I know Nuclear Blast reissued this. I want to say late '90s, early 2000s. Great album, heavy album. Has a definitive grindcore sound to it, like a guttural almost sounding grindcore sound. They only put out 2 albums. I think their album came out 03. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. It slips my mind right now. But yeah, they only put out 3 albums. This is another band that I would have wished, would have gone a little bit farther. With the talent that was in that band at that time. It was only 2 of them, but who knows what could have happened if they, stuck with this and did their, kept this as a side project to Napalm and Righteous Pigs and Scorn and Carcass and Cathedral and the whole circle of grindcore and doom bands for that matter. But definitely, like I said, another band I've been spinning for the past few days in between the new stuff that I got and everything. Defecation, Purity Dilution. Like I said, recorded in '87, didn't see a lot of data like '89. Old Carcass, Napalm, definitely. Righteous Pigs, definitely check them out. One of the next ones that I've been listening to also, a band that I think people categorize as new metal when they first came around, and I noticed a lot of people when they can't pinpoint a certain style of music for a band right away, they throw in it. They just were thrown into that whole new metal categorization or whatever. Skin Lab. I never classified these guys as new metal ever. Did Disembody the New Flesh. This is their second one. Their first one was Bound, Gagged, and Blindfolded. Bound, Gagged, and Blindfolded. I think that first record was immensely heavy. But I like this one. This one's like a groove metal, like a technical type, experimental. A couple of tracks that I like that I heard from this record when it first came out. This came out on Century Media in '99. I seen these guys like once or twice live. They weren't that bad live, not that I can remember. So Far From the Truth, Know Your Enemies, Scapegoat, which is my favorite song of this record. Name My Pain, Coward. It's a good album. Like I said, it's a combination of like a groove metal, experimental. A lot of people say it was like, that new metal. I don't think it was. I don't think it sounds any like things that came out around that era. They put out like I think like 3 or 4 records. Their last one I think was '09. I think it was 11 or something like that. They did. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They did one in 19. I think it was like one of the last ones. They put out a couple like EPs The Revolting Room was the EP they put out. Um, if you guys remember, Steve Ezekiel, the lead singer, went on to form with also in a band from Bay Area, um, Defiance, another great Bay Area San Francisco thrash metal band. I got them right here. That's Defiance Insomnium. This is all. This is three of their four records. Um, Product of Society, Void Terra Firma, great thrash record. Another one, um, Beyond Recognition, another band that is absolutely amazing thrash band. If you ever Defiance, check them out. Um, they'll they'll be in the description. But again, Skin Lab, I guess that people have had them categorized from day one as new metal. I don't think they're new metal. Experimental, a little bit industrial, some thrash in there. Um, they had that like a groovy feeling to them. Um, Borderline crossover in a way. Um, Maybe for me, when I hear new metal, my biggest thing that comes out of new metal is Korn, Limp Bizkit, or what the hell they were called. But like I don't think they were. I don't think they were new metal by any stretch. I personally like them. Like I said, Disembody, The New Flesh, Skin Lab. If you guys haven't heard these guys, check them out. Like I said, not a bad band at all. Like I said, I saw them a couple times back in probably early 2000s. Like their last one came out in 2019. For some reason, I think in 04 and 5. I don't know why. 2019 was like one of the last records they put out. But definitely check out this record and their first one, and also Revolting Room, which is like a EP type thing. They came out in Central Media in '99. Look at it. Not a bad band. Check them out. Another band that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. Crisis. Right from here in New York City. Not to be confused with the ones out west. This Death Shed Extermination. They combined everything on this record. Amazing live. I saw them a couple times. I think Current Crisis had one of the most rangeable vocal styles, especially for a female, a female that was just basically coming up. Had that death metal types singing, the almost like an opera type singing mixed in. She could hit the nice deep growls, the mids, and then she has a nice clean vocal. Amazingly singer, amazing band. This is their second album. They had like 4 albums out. Their first one, eight Convulsions, which is a very, very, very good heavy album. More of a straight up hardcore death metal type feel to it. They combined, like I said, Crisis was one of those bands that you had combined of everything. You had the grind, hardcore, thrash, death metal, melodic, all into one. I saw them a number of times. The last time I saw them was probably had to be early 2000s. Um, I forgot who they opened for. If anybody has seen them and met Karen Crisis, you'll know who I'm talking about. Karen Crisis is the most genuine person on and off the stage. Absolute talented, uh, absolute sweetheart to talk to. Um, it was either before her set or after her set at the merch table. I went up to get a shirt. I was seeing what they had, and I thought it was her. Well, it wasn't. Again, if anybody has met Karen Crisis or knows about Crisis, her sister, I forgot what her sister's name is right now, looks identical to her. And I started talking to her, and she laughed and she pointed. She goes, "That's who you want to talk to." When I turn and there's Karen Crisis walking right by me, dreads and everything, pretty face, everything. Her sister and her are identical, and I mean, I got confused on who I was talking to. Real down to earth, humble person. Um, I wish they would have gone farther, especially being here from New York. You know, being part of the whole scene that's here. You know, I saw him play in New York. I saw him play in Connecticut. Um, I forgot who they opened for. Um, down to earth. First time I heard this album, I was blown away. I had to go back on them to like the first one. That another one by them I recommend is The Howling. Great album, heavy album, but I think this album is their best album. Um, from the title track Onslaught, Working Out the Graves, Wretched, The Watcher, Bloodlines, uh, Prisoner Scavenger, 2 Minutes of Hate. There's really not a bad track on this record. Right there. There's Karen up top there. Um, again, from New York, they brought in every aspect of metal. I think. That's the back of it. Like I said, you get a combination of the hardcore, the grind, the thrash, the crossover. It's just everything right there. And then her vocals, she can go from that deep growling death metal grind type vocal to a hardcore to like a Symphony X type uh, vocal, like that. Um, like a grimy sound. Um, is that I This is one band I wish was still around. Um, I don't think people caught on to them back then, um, which I think is a shame. I think they were phenomenal when they came out. I mean, I don't think they put out bad records. I mean, this is my favorite record by them. I got the other ones right behind me over here somewhere. Um, Definitely check them out. Crisis. They have like four albums out. Um, Definitely the first one, Eight Convulsions, The Howling, and this one. Ooh, excuse me. Um, that's head. That's Head Extermination. Check these guys out. I think you'll like them. If you're into that raw sounding, you know, we have all different varieties of hitting them at one time. Definitely check them out. And again, they're from New York. I'm partial to them. Sorry. um, Another one, band from Sweden. Um, they only put out, I think, 2 records. Guardian. Very melodic, uh, technical death metal. Been this one is This is off their Soul Burner record. Uh, very, very good band, underrated band. Um, the last thing that came off, I think it was like 19. I think it was. Um, There's some label. I forgot the label name. Was it indie label? Put out Soulburn and their other their first album, Sinistries, on one album. Um, Another band. This came out on Nuclear Blast in 2000, I believe it was. Yeah, another band, you know, didn't didn't get the recognition. No, it's not 2000. Hold on, 96, I believe this is 97. But anyways, yeah, definitely check out Guardian if you like that old Swedish, sound. Um, Amon Amarth, in a way. Trying to think some other bands. Definitely, my mind just went blank right now. Amon Amarth, um, Early Master, for that matter. Um, there's so many different sound. Early Creator, even. To tell you the truth. Um, Definitely check them out. Guardian, Soul Burner, very good, underrated, overlooked band, overlooked album in my opinion. De- Definitely one to check out. Like I said, they only put out like 2 3 albums at the max. Um, this one and Sinistries. Some There's an indie label, I think it was 2019, put out a double disc of this record and the other record they have out. I'm partial to this one. It's a heavy album, melodic album, technical album. The vocals are astonishing. There's one song that has a couple of tunes have a female backing vocal on it, which I think fits in with this band perfectly. A couple of the songs: "Deserted," "Soul Burner," "If Tomorrow Is Gone," "Chaos and Flesh," uh, "Lost." One of my favorite, "Black Days." You know, good album, heavy album, melodic, some technical in there, some darkened, like a darkened thrash almost mixed in. Um, has that typical Sweden vocal to it. So definitely check out if you like older Tiamat too. Tiamat, um, again Tiamat, Amon Amarth. My mind just drew a big blank right now. I hate when that happens. Um, Early Rotting Christ, even. Definitely check these guys out. One of the next ones, um, another band that I think a lot of people forgot about. I was spinning these guys earlier this week, and I was like, wow. Reverend. Yes, the original lead singer from Middle Church, David Wayne, rest in peace, passed away in '05. This is Reverend. Um, World Won't Miss You. If you like Middle Church, Revenant, Heretic, earlier Exodus, early Metallica, check these guys out. I think it's an astonishing record. Um, Thrash metal speed, heavy metal mix, a little bit crossover sound into it. There's a hint of melodic, technical mixed in there. Um, I think it's a great record. Um, I know a lot of people go back to um, um, the Play God record, which I think again, I think their Play God record is one of the best thrash metal records out there ever made. One of the most underrated albums, in my opinion. But World Won't Miss You, I think, is a definite must for any thrash metal fan, especially from that late '80s, early '90s thrash sound. That sound like I said, if you like him in Metal Church and even Heretic, you would love him in this. Um, it's a shame he's gone. I realize it's been Denver 20 years for him already, which is astonishing to me. That's the inside of it. Great songs, top to bottom. I don't think there's I don't think there's one bad track on this record, top to bottom. I don't think there's any filler tracks on this record at all. Um, like I said, just a great record, in my opinion. It's hard to believe, you know, Wayne has been gone, 20 years now. Wow, you know. Um, it's like I was saying, you know, everybody talks about the Play God record, which, like I said, don't get me wrong, that Play God record, I think it's epic. I think it's one of the um, top top 20, if not top 10 um, thrash records, speed records, you know, ever written. Especially, you know, in the late 80s, 90s, you had the distinct sound where you had so many different thrash, you know, thrash bands, crossover bands, speed metal bands putting out these, you know, albums that people like, you know, Reverend, Heretic, um, seem to forget about. You know, the late great Mike Howe, another singer from Metal Church, Heretic. Those first two Heretic records, which I was going to include in this, but I was going back and forth with things, could be included in, you know, in this as some of the best thrash and speed albums ever written. I think his vocals on this, David Wayne's vocals on this record, are some of the most incredible vocals ever. Another lead singer that, once you heard him, you knew who it was, just by, you know, throwing it in a CD player or a tape deck or whatever, you know, pressing that play button. Underrated vocalist. I think it's one of those albums that people in bands that people seem to forget about, you know, until you mention them and it comes right back. And I know everybody has their top, you know, those the top big thrash bands. You know, there's so many bands from the '90s that put out, you know, great thrash and speed albums that people forget about. And this is definitely one of them. Definitely one of them. Again, Ward Won't Miss You, Reverend. If you guys have forgot about them, listen to them. If you don't have this record, pick it up. David Wayne. You remember him from Metal Church. Rest his soul. It's been going on 20 years now for him. Again, mind blown. There was Hand of Doom, Gunpoint. Two of my favorite songs on this record, Another Form of Greed, and Desperate. Pick this album up, or if you have it, spin it. You know, I was going through my collection that day and I saw it. I'm like, wow, I've listened to this, you know, forever. I popped it in my CD player. I was just like, wow, you know, it brought me back. You know, when it first came out. So definitely, Reverend, Ward Won't Miss You. Check out this record. Next one, another band. While I was looking at that one, this one is right next to it. Revenant. Now, not to be confused with the 3 or 4 other Reverend band names. Yes, there's like 3 or 4 bands by the name of Reverend. There's one in Dallas, I think it's called. I think they're from Dallas. More of like a metalcore band. You got one from Arizona who hasn't put anything out in like forever. That, you know, why people would even, you know, get them confused with these guys who are from Jersey. It's beyond me. There's one called the Revenant also. I think they're from I want to say they're from Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, like a darkened death metal band. But these guys are from Jersey. Prophecies of the Dying World. Great, great. Um, uh, like a thrash metal speed, like a darkened thrash metal album. Um, has some doom in it. There, there are some parts of this album that you can hear like the real doomy parts of it. Um, Came out Nuclear Blast back in the day. I think it's one of the best thrash albums um, ever. Yeah, that I was listening. Well, when I pulled the Reverend out, I saw this. I was like, oh my god, you know. I started playing that. Um, another another one of the bands that people just forget about. You know, it's I think it's bands like this that came out, you know, 91. Of course, 91 you had so many great albums that came out in 91. Think about it. You had Slayer that was coming off of releasing Seasons. You had Metallica still going with the Black Album. You had uh, Megadeth putting out some stuff. Testament was floating around then. Creator, and excuse me. You had the big movement of goddamn grunge starting to pop off too. So, you know, there's just so many great albums that came out in '91, and there's albums that came out that people just intend to forget about. You know, great album. Like I said, thrashy album, doomy album, like a dark and thrash almost in a way. Heavy record. Um, I think the vocals are top notch in this record. The guitars are there. Very very heavy album. Damn good record to just sit back and listen to. I mean, I've been spinning it now for like the past half an hour. So definitely, if you guys haven't heard them or if you guys forgot about them, Revenant, Prophecies of the World, Prophecies of the Dying World. Excuse me. Check these guys out. If you haven't played them in a while, play them. It came out in '91. Nuclear Blast came out on Nuclear Blast, and also on. It was distributed by SPV Records. So definitely check them out. There's two that I've been listening to. I'm gonna hold off to the end. Because I think there's two bands that people, one I'm sure people don't know about too much, and one that people forgot about. Yes, I had to write a couple things down to keep my brain going. Next one is one of my favorite bands. I've been a big fan of this band since I first heard them come out. Toxic Holocaust. Contra Commands the album. If you're into Sodom, Midnight, Skeleton Witch, Power Trip, even Creator, definitely check these guys out. I saw them a bunch of times. Heavy record, fast album. Dark and Death, Dark and Thrash, you name it. It's all into one. Again, I've been to these guys since I first heard them. I saw them like I think like 3 times. I got all their stuff over there somewhere. There's one band I can honestly say over the past um, 10, 12 years or so now, really haven't put out a bad record. Um, Very heavy. A couple songs off this record I love. Uh, Agony of the Damned, Red Winter, Nowhere to Run, Revelations, Liars Are Burning, I Am Disease. Because it's come out in Relapse. If you guys haven't heard these guys, check them out. I know there's a couple people that put them up the other day, and I started remembering them. And again, it's one of my favorite records by them. You know, Sodom, Midnight Creator. You know, if you're into that, like dark and thrash, um, death metal feel, a little doomy, to it. Definitely check them out. Toxic Holocaust, Conjuring Command. Check them out. Another one that I've been in these guys since I first heard them. Um, I saw them before I got into them, and they blew me away when I saw them. Iron Reagan, Tyranny of Will, classic hardcore crossover thrash, a little bit of dark and thrash mixed in there. Um, DRI, heavily influenced DRI, Municipal Waste, Warbringer, early SOD, for that matter, Slayer, Anthrax feel, Maiden, even, you know, there's just a combination, a very, if you ever seen DRI or heard DRI, you'll know what I'm talking about. Power Trip the same way. Great band live, great album. No nonsense, crazy fantasy live, great heavy record. A couple of songs off this record that I love: Close to Toast, Miserable Failure, Your Kid's an Asshole, Bored to Death, Bleeding Frenzy, Just Say No, 4 More Years, Broken Bottles. It reminds me of DRI in a lot of ways, as does Municipal Waste. The song titles, the placement of songs, the music, the breakdowns of it, the vocalists. It's just a true crossover feel, hardcore band, especially the topics that they sing about. Seen these guys a few times. Like I said, first time I saw them, I didn't know who the hell they were. I forgot who they opened for. They blew me away, and I've been a fan of them ever since. I remember I first saw them, people were like, they would tell me, if you like the DRI, you like the crossover, you know, which I'm big into crossover, you know, Luca Christ, you know, Crumb Suckers, Elastic Front, things like that. COC. That's who also, if you like the early COC stuff, Animosity, World Gone Mad, things like that, definitely check out Iron Reagan. Check out that record. Tyranny of Will. They have like 3 or 4 records out. If you like that, like I said, the crossover to hardcore, thrash, a hint of like doominess with it, in a way, definitely check them out. They're on for a while. They're supposed to come out with a new record soon. I think they're saying like 2025, which I'm hoping. I absolutely love these guys. Next one, another band that I think people forgot about. I forgot about these guys for a while. Nocturnal Torment. Old school death metal. Little grind feel to them. This is their '08 release, I believe. Come on, Deathgasm Records. They Come at Night. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is not. No, their last one they did. Yeah, I'm sorry. My mistake. They only have 2 records out. They Come at Night, and then Termination. Came out in. I think it's behind me. No, it's over there. I'm sorry. Came out in '08. They only put out 2 records. If you like Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, Grave, Gorguts for that matter, Nasum, you know, along that lines, definitely check them out. They're heavy, and that old school death metal feel that I absolutely love, that I've been into for a while. Like I said, I was just going through stuff, and I was looking at something else, or I might have been putting away some new stuff that I got, and I just saw them, like, oh my god, I haven't listened to them in a while. I popped them in. It was just like, a fresh throwback to like that old school death metal, the old school early grind mixed in with it. Like I said, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, um, Master, even Memoriam, uh, Obituary. Definitely along that line. Cataclysm, Benediction. You know, definitely. Nocturnal Torment. They come at night. Check these guys out. This is on Death Guys on Records. All the bands are going to be in the description, right? Definitely. Like I said, Nocturnal Torment. Check these guys out. Alright, the next two that I want to get to, I totally forgot about this band until probably about 5-6 months ago when I was looking for something else and this popped up. Nemesis. This is the band that led into Candlemass. This is Leaf Elding's Nemesis. This is the band before Candlemass. Real heavy, doomy album. I think Leaf's vocals on this record are phenomenal. If you like Candlemass, you'll definitely get these guys. This comes with the Day of Retribution album that came out in '84. Also comes with it's a 2-disc set. This too has them live playing at a high school in 1983. I listened to it. The sound isn't that bad. I wish they would have left it the raw cut of it. Also comes with an '83 demo. Warrior Queen Rehearsal. That was an EP by them again. And then it has an '83 '84 demo on it. I listened to it many times. Again, this was Leaf before Candlemass was even a band, was even thought of. I saw this, I grabbed it right away because I totally forgot about Nemesis. I totally forgot about them. I saw it on, it might have been eBay, I'm not sure though. I quickly grabbed it up. Like I said, to this set, this came out on No Remorse Records in 24. I know I saw the masters of this on a couple of sites. I understand people are excited about it, but yeah, that's why. If you like Candlemass, you like Leaf, pick this up. Nemesis. It's called the Day of Retribution, the compilation. It has all the stuff from Nemesis leading up to Candlemass. Raw sounding. It has that Candlemass doom sound, the heavy doom sound. I think Leaf's vocals on this are tremendous, and that goes without saying. Sorry, I heard something. Definitely pick these guys up. If you're a fan of Candlemass, like I said, I'm gonna grind that out. Fan of Candlemass, pick these guys up. Nemesis, I will put it in the description. I've been listening to this since I got it. I haven't put it down yet. Very, very good early Candlemass doom. Next thing is a band from where I grew up, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Dresden. I was so happy when I found this. I got it a few years ago on, I think Hell's Headbangers had this. They were old school thrash band, speed metal band. Um, they never got the recognition, I think. Um, they put out it's called um, the anthology. It has too many skeletons. Um, on this one, it's a two disc set. And then side two, this two is their Reign of Terror and the Dark Lords EPs that they put out. Um, old school, old school thrash, speed metal, um, crossover parts of it. Um, never got the recognition. That's why when I saw this on Hell's Headbangers a couple years ago, I couldn't believe it. Um, I'm sure there's people out there, you know, as back in the '80s, um, that you know are gonna remember these guys. Overlooked, underrated, forgotten about. Um, I would say if you like the old school thrash, Exodus sounding, early DRI, COC, early Metallica, um, early Megadeth for that matter, GBH along that line. Yeah, I know they're punk and crossover, but definitely COC sounding, early MOD, very, very underrated, top to bottom, forgotten about. You could go on check for this on Hell's Headbangers. Um, I'm not sure if they're gonna have any more. You could also try dyingvictims.com record. Dying Victims Productions. It's just this band. I wish they were. I wish they were around today. Um, they had their own unique sound. To them, especially being from here on the East Coast. My old stomping grounds, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Um, you know, back then, especially in the '80s, it wasn't like today. We didn't have no internet, no, click of a mouse and boom. It was fanzines, especially local bands that were coming up. I know Connecticut's known for, Hatebreed, which I love, Fate's Warning. There's so many bands that came out of Connecticut that didn't get noticed, from the underground scene, especially in the '80s. You had so many local bands, back in Bridgeport. Bands like Dresden, Black Witch, Bad Attitude, Obsession. God, my mind's blank. Early Hatebreed bands called Death Threat, 2x4. I'm gonna play a little clip of this just so you guys can hear it. If you like that old, like I said, the old school feel, the thrash, the speed metal, the crossover type, definitely give these guys a chance. You can, if you put it in, I'll put the description in the area, so you guys, find yourself. They might be on iTunes. I'm not 100% sure about that. If they are, I'll add it to the description. But this is off the Too Many Skeletons record. This is the title track, Too Many Skeletons. that was just a sample of them. Um, that's title track, Too Many Skeletons. Again, I'll put the description in the comment section of it, or the I'll put the description of them in the description center of it. Um, and if they're on iTunes or Bandcamp, I'll throw it up there also. Like, old school thrash, speed metal. Um, the funny thing about this band, they're big over in Germany, which is mind blowing to me. How bands start off here in the States that are nobodies, that are only known by the people locally. I know back in the day they were put on when they had like the metal shows, especially here in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. A lot of stations had metal shows that were on Saturdays for like 10, 12 hours. And they would showcase a lot of the local bands. And these guys were on WNHU. If anybody's from Connecticut, I'm talking about Jersey, New York. WNHU would have from 2 in the afternoon till 2 in the morning a metal show, barring there was no college football. But they were on there a lot. There was so many up and coming local bands that came out of Connecticut, especially Bridgeport area. In Bridgeport, Connecticut, New Haven, Upper Connecticut. You had a bunch. Fates Warning is from West Hartford, Connecticut. Hatebreed, my boys, they're from Bridgeport and New Haven. Some of you guys might remember the band Tyrant Trooper, Milldale, Connecticut. Great old school death metal feeling guys, grindy. You can find them at Pathos Productions. He has a bunch of their first one, that Insane Sickness album that has been reissued, which I'm glad about that. But definitely, if you guys like this or anything I showed today, check out the description. I'm gonna put all the links in there for you guys. Any comments, questions, anything, hit me up. You can find me on Instagram under the same name, Mr. Metalhead Boy and Y. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm working on a couple big things. I'm probably going to be getting to probably over the next few days. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I was just not feeling good. I'm working on a big King Not Merciful Fate, the Skog thing I'll talk about. And also, with the Defecation thing, with the Defecation album I was talking about, I'm working on a huge Napalm Death discography thing. I'm going to break it down to where I have all the bands that spawned off of Napalm, that around Napalm and this and that. I laughed at somebody that I saw a couple weeks ago calling Napalm Death nothing more than a cover band. I laughed at it. Okay, cover band. I understand if not the same members, but from 90 till now, it's been one band. Okay? Yes, what they did after that, but I don't understand how somebody could call Napalm Death a cover band. The masses, my opinion, my humble opinion, people can think what they want. They have their own opinion, fine. My opinion, Mick is the one that basically coined that phrase. Grind metal, grindcore, Napalm Death. My opinion, Righteous Pigs, Napalm, Carcass, Defecation are some of the earliest grind metal, grindcore ever. The grindcore, the dark, deep death metal sound. So for anybody to say that Napalm Death was more of a cover band, I don't know what you're thinking. I seriously don't know what you're thinking. I think you should go back a little bit and actually rephrase that. Actually rephrase a couple things that you've said about bands. I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'll leave you guys to use your imagination on who I saw say that. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I got some things in the making that I'm working on. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you like anything that I talked about today, look them up. The links will be in the description. You could send me a message or message me over on Instagram under the same name, Mr. Metal Warrior and Y. Again, it's the Bulldog saying thank you. I appreciate you guys. Stay hard, stay heavy, stay metal, stay brutal. And as the Bulldog always says, if you're gonna do something, make it count. Stay hard.